Several hours has passed now. In fact, looking at my clock just above the computer here, I would say about 19 hours has passed. And obviously the hulls and the paint everything's about as dry as it's going to get. Now, yesterday, when I was painting and as I was getting towards the end of the spraying, I had the thought, I wonder if my overspray is going to, settle on top of the hulls there and make it more, you might say, pebbly or dimpled or, more of a texture than I would normally otherwise have. And then I read my comments later on, and one of the viewers had the same concern. And that maybe wasn't a real good idea. I don't think I'll be doing that again. I'll set them outside of the spray booth. I don't think anything serious is going to happen. After all, if you look at that sign in the back there, where it says furnace, face mask, fun, etc., there's really no spray on that, and the air has been sucked past that for quite a while. But just to play it safe, I'm not going to do that anymore. That was not a good idea. Now you're going to be seeing me doing something here that was recommended to me not to do, and that is put the needle in first. They say put the needle in last. Well, yeah, I can understand the theory behind that, but if I'm careful, I think doing it my way works out best for me. And the reason being is that if I put the needle in last, I can't put a little tiny bit of oil out near the end of the needle and then back it in through the channel. I like to have a little bit of lubricant in there, which will act as sort of a seal. Now, this is just my theory. I could be wrong, but I think it acts as a bit of a seal, and that way you're not going to be having paint working its way back up the needle and into the channel where the needle, slides back and forth in. Now, that's my theory. It seems to be working out okay for me. I haven't damaged the needle yet. Like I say, I'm just being careful. Let's take a nice close look at those hulls now, see if I've got it on maybe too thin or too thick. I'm not too worried about too thin. I can always put on some more, but if it's too thick, well, possibly I'll have lost some detail, and I don't want to do that. This kit is great on detail. It'd be a shame to paint over it. I might have put it on a little bit too thick there on the bow. Well, hopefully when that dries out, it'll thin itself out. Okay, now, it was that one right there. Hopefully it's still in the same place. It should be, because I don't think I moved anything. Well, almost everything's in the same place, and the main thing is this one is in the same place. So I know it was this one that I was worried about. Well, let's zoom in on it. Now, if you will remember, I was a little bit concerned about it being built up too thick on the bow there. But you can see I haven't lost any detail, at least not where the little tiny portholes are. I guess that's what you would still call them on a small boat like that. I don't know why not. And the rub rail and everything looks fine. Yeah, let's zoom in on the back here. Now, as we move in close like this, you can begin to see just a little bit of pebbling there. Let's put on the super macro and zoom right in on the rudder here. We are probably, I'm guessing, about 90% as close as we can get. If I get in if I get in much closer, then I can't get the entire rudder in the frame. Now, I also have to admit that I do have the light coming in from the side. So the light is casting shadows, on those little bumps. Makes them look worse than they really are. Kind of like the way the sun, hits the moon's surface and it's either black or it's white. Makes it look more bumpy than it really is. Now, mind you, I've never been on the moon. Okay. As long as we're messing around with our super macro, maybe we should check out this swatch that we did yesterday. And as we did yesterday with our brushed on sample, let's put a little dot. Well, that's not much of a dot, is it? Well, I can see it. And once again, like we did yesterday, We'll clamp it in something that I can angle at right angles to the lens, so that this will be perpendicular. And yeah, I think this is going to work out okay. Now, I think I've mentioned this before when I first got this lens, and that is that the way you focus it is by moving either your subject, further away or closer, or else moving the camera closer or further away. So it's really handy to have it on this little stand like this. Anyway. Now the difference between this shot and that of the rudder is that this time I am moved in as close as I can get. Maximum magnification. The same as we were yesterday when we did that other sample. Yeah, now speaking of yesterday's sample, let's see if we can do our side-by-side comparison. It should work. Now I don't need to tell you which one is smoother. The one on the right was the one that we did with the paintbrush, and we just sort of let it flow on and let it dry. Now I gotta tell you, I did use the hairdryer, and while I'm sure there weren't little white caps on the waves that were being created there by the hairdryer, it might be a little bit rougher than it would otherwise normally be if I was to have let it dry like over a period of say 2-3 hours. Now, of course, the one on the left with the spray, it's obviously more pebbly. Anyway, there's our side-by-side comparison. Now, I have mentioned this, I believe, twice before, but it won't hurt to rehash it. And that is that I don't have to paint the bottom of the rowboats black or dark. Now, I'm going to be using this. It was recommended. I think Andy recommended it. It's, what was it here? NATO Black number 69. It's not really a a solid black, like this is. Anyway, so I don't need to worry about these. These ones here, the motor launches. Oh, about these. In my mind, I was thinking, how am I going to mask off around the rudders on these? And then I realized, well, the motor launches, the rudders are, below the water line anyway. I don't need to worry about, trying to get the masking tape around those delicate little parts. The masking tape is just going to go around the back, which on these ones is V-shaped, and on these ones it's rounded. This one here is a little smaller than all the rest. Maybe this was the captain's boat, I don't know. Yeah, oh, and what I was thinking of doing here now is I've got this stuff from Tamiya, if I can get it out. Okay, so I was thinking if I was to take this and use the rub rail, you notice the rub rail is just a little bit below the gunnel, and it's in a straight line all the way around. Well, I guess because the hulls are upside down, it's above the gunnel, but you know what I mean. I can use the rub rail as a guide to go all the way around, and that way the masking tape should be, in the right position. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do one. Believe it or not, it's well after 3 o'clock here in Winnipeg right now. I wasted a lot of time on the computer fooling around, and yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and do one, but not in this episode. So, I guess once again I'm going to be saying, excuse me, no, I'm going to be saying thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.